kind.
Charismatic.
A hard worker.
Romantic.
Loyal.
Loving.
Genuine.
Thoughtful.
Honorable.
Intelligent.
Tender-hearted.
So silly.
Poopy butt.
My name's Audrey. I'm Andy's littlest sister.
My name is Austin Allen Vale, Elder Austin Allen Vale for right now. I have known Andrew Allen Vale for 22 years.
Hi, I'm Eric.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
I am your brother.
I am sister-in-law to Andy.
My name is Amber Amy Long. My maiden name is Vale. Andy is my oldest brother.
So I'm Jacob Long, and I'm Amber's husband, and so I know Andy through marriage.
I'm Aaron, Andy's little brother.
I'm Megan Vale. I'm Aaron's wife, so I'm Andy's sister-in-law, and I've known Andy for about 7 years now.
I'm Stephanie, your sister-in-law.
My name is Ryan Hudson, and I've known Andy since 7th or 8th grade.
Hey, my name is Josh. Let's see, I know Andy through work. We've been coworkers for about the past 4 years now. Man, time really flies.
My name's Seth Light. Oh, Andy's a good friend of mine. We worked many years at the Avalanche Media Company.
My name is Olivia. My name is Maddie.
He always had a really big heart. He always wanted to make sure everyone was included in everything, and yeah, he was always he wanted to be a leader, and he wanted to make sure that everyone got along well.
And what do we have here? It's Bel Air Boulevard. With all the oak trees, the live oaks, and the places Andrew rode his bike. He loved to ride his bikes and swim and play.
I have these great memories of Andy just playing with siblings and having fun, like giving us piggyback rides, or picking us up, twisting us around, like throwing us on the couch and running around and having fun. He's just a very fun guy and knew how to smile and laugh and make people feel loved and important.
Well, here's where Andy grew up. See the boat and the RV. Yeah, we didn't have those things when Andy was here. He just had wood piles and tires.
I remember that I was like 6 years old, and everyone was out helping my mom and dad clean up the yard, and I was just kind of chilling inside. And I felt bad because I was too little to really do anything. Like I was too little to really help out in any meaningful way. So my parents told my brother to move one of the cars up and around basically just move one of the cars further up into the parking lot. And so Andy thought it would be a good idea to put me, 6-year-old Austin, behind the wheel of the car. And he told me, now remember, the skinny pedal makes it go fast, and the wide pedal makes it go slow. So you need to make sure to hit the wide pedal and just keep your foot on that pedal. So I, super confused, said, okay. So I hit the pedal, the brake, put it in reverse, let off the brake, started going back, and then he said, okay, hit the brake. Okay, hit the brake. Okay, you really need to hit the brake. So I stomped on what I thought was the brake, ended up stomping on the gas, and rammed into the back of our Chevy Suburban. So the car was, in fact, I think it was totaled. I don't think we ever fixed it either. I think it's just, to this day, we immediately got rid of it, basically. But yeah, fun times, good times.
Right over there is where Andy taught me how to ride a bicycle. That was like my first memory with him. And I remember being scared. And he let go and I didn't even notice. The classic cliche that every kid has to go over.
Me and Andy share a birthday, so that was always pretty cool growing up.
I met Andrew on his 6th birthday. But all I know is I was his birthday present.
One thing people might not know about Andy is how good of a swimmer he is. I mean, this guy's like a fish. When we were kids, we had this camping trip with all the youth in our ward, and it was high adventure. We went up to this lake, and there were these big giant trees that had fallen down in the water, and they were kind of floating around, and we kind of rolled and pushed some of them into the water, and they were huge, and we would paddle and push them around, and we'd climb up on them and kind of ride on them like boats. And you know, there was this one branch or a big log that a bunch of us were riding on, and there were like 5 or 6 of us all, like, we'd grab on and push and swim as hard as we could and try and push it. And there were like 5 or 6 of us trying to push it. I remember swimming, and this log came passing us, and we look over, and all the boys are on top of the log, and I'm like, who's pushing now, and how are you guys moving so fast? And Andy's in the back, and he's just swimming, just pushing that whole thing, and they were able to go against the wind, and it was pretty incredible. We had a lot of fun in the water over the years.
Here's the Alvin City Pool, where Andrew learned to love to swim. We would get a city pass so that the family could go as much as they wanted because it was in our old neighborhood.
Hi Andy, I'm sending this video to commemorate your 30th birthday and let you know how much I love you. I remember when we went to Camp Karanqua, and you were 12, and it was your first overnight scout activity, and we showed up. We drove all night after a Friday night when I had to work late, and we showed up at Camp Karanqua down there in Houston about 10:30 at night. Everybody else was in bed in their camps, and nobody was there to help us set up our tent, so we just threw out our tent, and we thought it was a 4-man tent, but it was really a 3-man tent, so it was really meant for one big guy. So it was like big fat man in a little tent, and you were right next to me. And by the time morning came, we were doggone, the tent had collapsed or something like that, and it seems like we were right next to each other and got to know each other pretty well. Anyway, it was a pretty fun night, except for it was hotter than blue blazes and the mosquitoes were biting us.
So something I love about Andy, one of many things, is that he's really friendly, and he's good at just finding common ground with people and making friends. He was the mascot for several years in high school, and he just knew how to have fun and how to make friends with people and get a good laugh out of everyone.
Now, as a kid, I remember Andy being the mascot here, running up and down those stands, cheering on, wearing a gigantic Bronco head.
Something that I've always liked about Andrew is how outgoing he is. I remember in high school, he was one of the leaders of the Blackfoot student section. And I think they even made t-shirts that said boss. They were boss shirts, and it was a club, and it was just so cool. I remember that, and just thinking how cool was my older brother, that he was there, you know, pumping everyone up at basketball games or football games and making the student section just come alive. I always admired that.
He also had a ton of good friends who he loved and who loved him. So he was not only friendly, but just everybody knew Andy and everybody loved Andy. And I think that says a lot about your character when everybody who you meet loves you like that.
Well, I'm trying to think of one that doesn't involve Andy trying to get a girl or a girl's number or something. Because there was one time we were at BPA State where there was a girl he was kind of crushing on at Blackfoot High School. And he's like, don't worry, this is a guy's trip. You know, we don't need girls. Then when we got to BPA State, he's all, I think I'm in love with someone else. And then we get to the hotel later that night, and he calls the girl from Blackfoot. Andy has no fear, and a lot of girls was attracted to that. Like, he will say anything, and it will always be funny. So there was always something. Andy was a big flirt too. So there's always something with girls.
can't stand to see anyone hurt or sad or feel bad about things. And he's always ready to stick up for someone and have your back.
So there's a bunch of old country roads back behind our house and some cornfields and, you know, potato fields or whatever fields it was. And I remember Andy like stopped the car one time and he was like, okay, I'm gonna let you drive. I remember as a kid, you know, feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to drive this car and it's exciting and it's scary, but my brother's letting me do this even though it's kind of illegal and I don't know. And I was, yeah, so I had a lot of fun with that and it was a good time.
He dominates at Madden football. He's unbeatable. I've beat him a handful of times, maybe twice my entire life. And I've been an adult for like at least 5 years and I've never won. It's annoying, but in a good way, like in like a props to you, bro kind of way.
You know, when you left on a mission, I was just a kid. Like, I don't even very much remember being that little, but I remember that you were my oldest brother, and like we had that little youngest sister, oldest brother bond, I don't know. And I was 9 years old, I think, when you got back. I was only 7 when you left, but before you left, you gave me a song, and you were like, this is our song. And it was, ironically, called Our Song by Matchbox 20. And I was sitting in like 3rd grade, and I was listening to it, and I started crying, and I told them I was sick, and then I went to the office, and the nurse just went, she goes, hey, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong? Like, tell me what you're feeling. And I was like, I miss my brother. And I just sobbed to her for like 10 minutes.
And since you were in such a interesting place and things got stolen a lot, I wondered if you remembered us having to stick stickers of religious items on the outside and Jesus is watching notes and nothing but a t-shirt inside. Mm-hmm. At any rate, we sure love sending you peanut butter and Christmas stockings and things in Honduras, and we were proud of you for going.
I dedicate this next song to Amber and Audrey and Mom.
Twinkle, twinkle.
When he left to go on his mission in Honduras, we all missed him so much. Like, just like crazy, we missed him. And it was kind of he was the first sibling to go on a mission, and so it was a new experience for us. We just felt the void of him being gone for 2 years, and we're so happy when he got back into town. And it was just such an awesome feeling being reunited with him.
He was a big inspiration for me as I was about to head out on a mission, actually, because when he left on a mission, he was the very first all of us kids to go. And I remember him being very scared and being kind of nervous because he didn't really know what he was getting himself into. He didn't really know what it was going to be like out there. But I remember him telling me that he really felt like he needed to do it to be the trendsetter for us, to make sure that we all had a good person to look up to that went. So I remember that having a big impact.
Andy's gifts were kindness, he had a big heart, still does, has an ability to be the life of a party, to joke without making it harsh, to be a leader. I go to the dentist and someone says, oh no, I know Andy. I go to anywhere and they're like, oh yeah, I know your boy's Andy, right? And so I know he made a lot of friends. I sure have appreciated Andy over the years, and I feel like Heavenly Father put him at the leader spot of our kids for a reason. Someone my other kids could look up to and try to be more like.
When we were younger, we kind of had this sibling rivalry going, and growing up, it seems like we would take turns having growth spurts. At any given time, one of us would be able to beat the other one up a little bit, and we'd kind of take turns doing that, and we'd fight, and it was usually pretty even. And then it all kind of changed after my mission. And when I got home, it seemed like all of that rivalry went away. And he was just this cool college guy who was engaged already to Kelly and had his kind of path figured out, and he had this sweet moped, and he had an apartment up in Rexburg and roommates, and he was just kind of blazing that trail for our family of going to college and making your own way. And when I got home from my mission, I was in a really tough spot. I had gotten Dear John'd, and I was working this really hard construction job, and I was stuck in Blackfoot, and there's no real social life down there. And so he would just let me come crash on his couch and hang out with his roommates and go on dates, and it's been really cool throughout my life. I've been able to kind of see what he's done and learn with him, and he's always been kind to share whatever he has and help out however he can when he can tell that someone needs help. And I've really appreciated that. It's been a real good example to me.
I first caught wind of him in my daughter's life when she told me about how the two of them met at BYU, Idaho. I'm like, who is this guy? So fast forward a few years, months after that, it was time to bring Kelly home to Washington from BYU. Andy got a job up in Alaska. So he asked if he could carpool to Seattle with us, and of course. And there was a puppy involved that came from the Vale family. So I get to Rexburg, and Kelly introduces me to Andy, and I get out of the car, he comes up to me and gives me a great big bear hug. And he didn't even ask. He's like, I'm a hugger. And I'm like, that's great. So that was my first introduction to Andy. And then we had this fabulous road trip. And I should have known that there was something amazing about him, because cute little Molly, 6 weeks old, 8 weeks old, had nothing to do with me, but she just cuddled up and really liked Andy. So that was very cool.
In the summer of 2016, Andy was working in Alaska. He got a job up there driving tour buses in a town called Sitka, Alaska. And so he and I did long distance for that summer. For his birthday that year, he flew me up to Alaska to spend some time with him. And so I went up there, and he showed me all around Sitka. We went kayaking. We kayaked to an island and kayaked back, and it was so fun. Later that night, that same day that we went kayaking, he took me to a beach. He took me to a beach, and he not really stole, but he took a box truck from his work, and we drove to this beach. It was a beautiful beach, and there were otters playing in the water, splashing around. The sun was starting to set. It was beautiful, the most beautiful beach I've ever been to. And so Andy, he turned me around, and he held me from behind, and he was pointing out the otters and saying, just how beautiful it was and how grateful he was that I could be there with him. And that's when he got down on one knee, and he proposed to me, and he asked me to marry him. And it was the most beautiful, perfect proposal ever. And just so magical. And I will forever cherish that moment in time.
But I wouldn't be married to my wife if it wasn't for Andy. So Andy and I worked at a call center in Rexburg, just calling nonstop for hours and hours and hours, and it was the worst. But we would go get tacos at Cafe Rio every Tuesday, and I was with Andy when I first saw my wife at Cafe Rio at the checkout stand, or at the line. And Andy started talking to her. He's like, because Sam was making tortillas and tossing them on the little cook thing, and he's like, "Oh, gonna go to the fair and do the ring toss." That was the first conversation I had with Sam, and I learned she lived in Maine and stuff. But then fast forward a little bit, I asked Sam her number. I asked Sam on a date. Andy was the double date, and we went and played racquetball and stuff. But I knew I could count on Andy to pick up where because I'm shy, I'm introverted. He's a great wingman. He was there for me. And then, not long after that first date, Sam invited me to go play card games with her and her roommates, whatever. I called Andy, like, come with me. And of course, he's like, yeah, I'll be there for you. So that's who Andy is. He's always there for you. He's always a good time.
Oh man, Andy just always brings a vibe. He's always just, go to heavens, Loretta, you know, things like that. He really knows how to make a statement, you know. He's really good at that.
Something I love about Andy is I feel like he's very good at listening, and I feel like he's very caring about what you have to say, and he's just very fun to talk to. I like that about Andy.
So Andy's boss asked us if we wanted to be co-hosts of this Airbnb cabin that he owned in Island Park. And for the summer, we lived in the basement of this Airbnb cabin. When we first got there, it very much looked like a garage, you know. It was cement and cinder block and gray and dusty and dirty. But we were able to turn it into a comfortable living space for us. So we painted the walls, we put in LVT flooring, we put in carpet, we made it a home for us for the summer. And it was just so fun to do those DIY projects with Andy. It seems like every Sunday of that summer, we would go on a drive around Island Park, and it was so fun to see all the beautiful scenery, be there with Andy, and to just have that time. This was before we had kids, and so it was just a really beautiful time to be together and to be kind of isolated from civilization almost, just because it was very remote, and so it was just fun to have to depend on each other, to build our relationship, to create memories, and it has been, I would say, part of our foundation as a couple. And it definitely strengthened us, and it was just such a memorable, incredible, fun summer. So Andy's always given me really good relationship advice. Several times he's just had some words of wisdom that he had found out through his dating life that he just passed on to me, and I was very grateful for that because it led me to Jacob, and then also that led me to have Heath, and so it's been nice having that perspective.
You know, there was one time where I was just dating Amber. We might have been engaged at the time, and Andy and Kelly still lived in this little flat apartment in Rexburg. They had just had Olivia. Olivia was only a couple months old. And we went over and babysat for Olivia, and I you know, hadn't had a whole lot of time to interact with Andy and Kelly and their family, and so I remember that being a really good moment, you know, before and after the babysitting, talking to them and getting to know them better. And so that's going to be my favorite memories.
He gave me such a warm welcome into the Vale family. That was so nice. I felt like he and Aaron had this comfortable relationship, and he just kind of welcomed me right into it in a way that was really like comforting. Especially, it's nerve-wracking meeting in-laws for the first time, but I could tell within minutes that he just had like an upbeat, happy spirit about him, and he and Kelly were just so quick to welcome me into the family, and I just felt so loved very quickly, and that has blossomed into a wonderful relationship with the Vale family that I really treasure.
We were home for Christmas a couple of years ago, and basically I had lost one of my socks, and I was freaking out because I didn't want to go to the airport without a sock on, and I wanted to wear socks, and without making anything complicated or whatever, Andy just ran to Walmart and got me a new pack of socks, and it made such a difference. I felt so much better at the airport, and yeah, and I just love that Andy is willing to do anything for his family. He's kind of a peacemaker. He likes to make the people, and especially the family around him, feel loved and welcomed. And so, can just always count on Andy to be there, to be making jokes, to be having fun with people and making connections and building relationships with people. And I think that's, you know, one of Andy's many strengths is building relationships with people, with family, with those that are important to him. So glad you're in the family, Andy.
I met Andrew on the same day I met all the rest of the family. I think it was Brenton's 3rd birthday party. And I remember Erica told me a lot about Andrew's daughters, Olivia and Maddie, and how much he loved them and how cute they were. And so I remember just watching Andrew interact with his daughters and thinking he was really fun, chill dad.
Another thing I love about Andy is that he is a fantastic father to my nieces, Olivia and Maddie. They adore him, and yeah, it's just awesome to get to see him become a dad and see how that's changed his life, and yeah, it was just fun.
My favorite thing to do with Dad is riding on scooter with him and playing with him, and I love when he rides a lime scooter with me, and I love playing with him, and I love making waffles and pancakes with him, and I love doing everything with him. He plays more than Mom. I love when he goes in my armpit. I like to play with him. I like to tell her with that and see me not go for it. I will be the biggest one.
Wow.
Like this big.
And I think that his younger high school version of himself would be very happy and very proud of him, of who he's turned out to be as a wonderful husband and father to his kids, and a wonderful brother and brother-in-law.
Yes. I don't really...
Well, Andy and I had a very special connection when we went to my escape room bachelor bath. Well, those were the days. He was scared out of his mind. It was hilarious. He grabbed onto me like a 12-year-old little man. Quite the ride.
So I want to share 2 quick stories about Andy. One that happened when I first met him 4 years ago, and one that happened last week. So the first one is, I think it's my first or second day there. Didn't know anybody. Still the weirdness of COVID, you know. And Andy shows up, and I didn't know him at all. He comes and says, "Hey man, I'll take you out to lunch. Let's get to know each other." So he takes me to Carl's Jr. And I still remember that because I was like, oh man, that people here are really cool actually. Because I still, you know, there wasn't a lot of people in there yet. It was still like a lot of people at home. So I think that's a good memory just because showed Andy's always willing to be friendly and nice to everyone. Another one's last week. We went kayaking. And man, I really wish I got a picture of it so we could share it. But Andy was always the one pushing the kayak when we got stuck on the rocks or whatever. And I still remember turning back and seeing him laying completely horizontal across the kayak as we're going down the river. Still cracks me up.
Andy Vale has made my life better. He's able to get me into work 5 days a week instead of the 4. It takes a lot of courage, a lot of tenacity to do that.
What do you mean, get you into work?
Some of us, we're not destined for the 5 days of work week. But Andy, his heart is pure. His actions are honorable. Good heavens, Loretta!
For Andy's future. I think you're gonna move to Minnesota. I think that's your next destination. Minnesota. It's like soda, like Dr. Pepper, but like mini, so like small. Minnesota. It's kind of crazy. But I think you'll thrive. You'll be thriving on your driving and everything.
He's going to become a professor somewhere, and he's going to be like the world's best math teacher, because I know he did really well with the math tutoring and that kind of stuff.
My prediction for Andy is that here in the next little bit, he is going to discover a new hobby, one that would be seemingly unlikely, one that's not on his radar, and it's going to turn into something that he really enjoys doing. What it is, I have no clue.
Predictions I have for Andy's future: he's going to be insanely wealthy. That's my prediction. He's going to just be insanely wealthy. Eventually invite us up to his like log cabin in Island Park or on a cruise ship or something. But yeah, nothing but success.
I see great things for Andy Vale. He's a wise man. I can see him being a leader of men, a real strong, courageous man who knows where to take and lead the people, possibly buy a home here in Utah.
You've got a great future ahead of you. I love you so much.
30. That's a big number. 30 is a really big number. I'm sure it'll be fun. You got to listen to My Next 30 Years by Ding Dang Old, by Tim McGraw. It's really, really good. I like that song. It's a classic.
I honestly don't think I have any advice, but maybe Andy will have advice for me because he's always been that guy who figures out the ropes and then shares hacks with everyone. Maybe just love with your whole heart. I don't know, you've always done that, but yeah.
I don't really have any advice. Just keep doing it. You're doing a great job.
Well, what I would say is you're never too young to have a midlife crisis. You know, life is for living. Don't get so caught up in the rat race and the stresses of life that you forget to slow down and have fun and, you know, take time for yourself and for your family. So, yeah.
I think my number one piece of advice would be turning 30 for me felt intimidating, but I would say lean into it and kind of let it be a moment of reflection where you can kind of look back over the past 30 years and kind of analyze how far you've come and also think about what you want to do over the next 30 years and the person you want to continue to become. So yeah, turning 30 can be a wonderful new beginning.
If I knew what advice to give Andy, he'd already know it. He's very old in his age, wise in his mental abilities. However, still a kid at heart.
What?
Andy, advice: I've been 30 since March, so I know what I'm doing. And just keep doing what you're doing.
I love him. I think that he has made it. I think he's successful. I think he has a family that loves him and that he's respected and admired by his family, by his 2 adorable little girls who are just wonderful. And I think that his younger high school version of himself would be very happy and very proud of him, of who he's turned out to be as a wonderful husband and father to his kids and a wonderful brother and brother-in-law.
Here's my first little pancake. I sure love you, and happy 30th.
I was proud of you. Take care. Love you. Bye-bye.
Andrew, happy birthday. You are awesome.
I love you, Andy. Happy birthday. You're old now. That's awesome for you. I'm so proud of you. You've done so much in life, and I love you.
Yeah, we just love you,
Yeah,
Andy.
we love you
You're
so much.
awesome, and we're blessed to have you in our lives.
Yeah.
And happy birthday!
We're so happy for you. Turning 30. Congratulations, man.
Happy birthday, Andy! Did you say happy birthday, Andy? Happy birthday, Andy!
Happy birthday, Andy!
Happy birthday, Andy.
Yes. Happy birthday, Andy.
So Andy, hope you have a happy birthday. You bring a lot of joy and fun to the office. So glad to have you around and enjoy your 30s, man.
Happy birthday, Andy. I love you. You're amazing. Thank you for being the best husband and father in the world.
Happy birthday, Dad. Have a nice birthday. I love you and have a great birthday with your family. Happy birthday, Dada. I love you.
Andy, have a great 30th birthday. Thank you for enjoying this scene I don't know what to call it. Too many fart sounds clogging my brain right now to really know actual advice to give you, but you're headed in the right direction. Happy birthday, man. Have a great year.
If I had to describe Andy in one word, I think it would be mushroom, because he's a fun guy.
Fungus.
Oh.
Because the fungus among us is real.
What?
I wish for you that you don't go bald.
Okay.
You can cut this whole part out, Kelly. That part gets cut. Don't put that in. That is going to get cut immediately. Please, Kelly, please. I'm literally begging you not to put that in, please. All right.
Anyway, I have ADD, and so do I. But